With your entourage mounted and set, you take off down the road in a vast peloton of chickens jostling for position to be the yellow yoke leader of the pack. But there was only one destined for that role. Little Pan the halfling, holding his orb aloft like a glowing beacon, he illuminated the path before you. Focusing the chickens into formation, the phalanx is formed, and Andraste, Torvin and Grim find themselves riding alongside Pan. There is a burst of speed and multicoloured flame, and smoke erupts from the chicken's claws. Striking the newly laid cobblestones, a rainbow of light and smoke cascades from the back of the chicken phalanx peloton. Surging up the side of the Sword Mountains, you crest the ridgeline and launch into flight with another burst of speed. All words are snatched away by the wind rushing past as you lean forward instinctively to hang on. The chicken wings slide back into cruise mode, and there is another burst of speed as you enter the slipstream, high up above the clouds, where the curve of the planet can be seen in the thin envelope of atmosphere. This pyrotechnic wave of light and colour is witnessed by thousands for miles around, and as the trail dissipates in your wake, it leaves little sparkles of fairy dust which drift slowly to the ground. We interrupt this transmission to bring you a newsflash. Many reports are coming in of a moving band of light across the night sky. It seems to be traveling eastwards away from major population centers and is traveling at fantastic speed. We are trying to get a comment from the Astronomical Society to see if this is a comet falling to Earth. The university has already disavowed all knowledge of what many are claiming is a magical event. Waterdeep News is inclined to agree. The reports we have received do suggest something magical is occurring here. We can go now live to our reporter on the scene, Lego Meleg. Lego, can you tell us what's happening where you are? I am currently in the small village of Brainhurst, which was midway through their celebrations for the mayor's birthday party when the rainbow passed overhead. Most people thought it was part of the celebrations, but then everyone turned blue. Clerics are mystified and are struggling to cure anyone. However, there is speculation about staying blue and renaming the village to Smurf Village, which will lead to a significant boost in tourism for the area. Also, farmers report crops changing magically. Turnips become onions, potatoes become tomatoes, sheep become horses, chickens and rabbits grow in size, a river float upstream. We also have an unusual report from a dark priest of Jimbob, who handed himself in to the village guards. He is seeking atonement for his crimes after a sudden and irreversible alignment shift. He was about to perform a ritual when his sacrificial dagger turned into a surprised fish, which decided to bite him on the nose. He cried out, "Can somebody get thiff off by bows?" However, his fellow evildoers vanished from existence and were replaced by several fey creatures, including a band of satyrs, several fairy dancers, and MC Moo, the Minotaur DJ. The priest has also made an application to the local council for his dungeons to be repurposed into a nightclub. This is Lego Meleg dancing the night away at Fishnose Nightclub. Back to you in the studio, Clive. As you look down at the land passing beneath you, you can only see twinkling lights and silver threads of water denoting rivers and canals, passing over the high forest and endless mass of green far below. A few hundred miles to the north there is a flash of light and a blossom-like mushroom of fire erupts from somewhere in the forest, a cataclysmic event for the forest dwellers north of the Star Mounts. Pan veers away southwest, bobbing and weaving through the clouds. Focusing the orb, Pan weaves through the sky, his eyes closed, concentrating intently on the path before you. Laid out only in his mind, he is smiling as a vast mountain range below you rises up like fingers stretching for the sky. You begin to descend, but not gradually. This quickly becomes a steep dive. The chicken wings fold back flat to the body and you hang on to your stirrups as you plummet towards the ground. Landing in the half-pipe of the valley perfectly, the peloton surges down at fantastic speed, hurtling across the valley floor, crossing the small river and ascending back up the other side. Crossing over loose rock and scree, the claws find purchase somehow, and you go into a vertical ascent. Reaching the zenith of your trajectory, you begin to fall again, but this time with less momentum. Welcome to the Pandemonium roller coaster ride. The next valley has a lake, and you splash across its surface, getting thoroughly drenched before rocketing back up the precipitous valley walls and on into another loop. Pan begins to giggle with each rise and fall, clearly having the time of his life. He opens his eyes briefly, and trusting that the chickens knew how to fly now, he turned to look back at his friends. Torvin was laughing and grinning, However, Andraste and Grim were clearly unhappy and hanging on for dear life, cloaks and hats clutched for security. He was about to apologise when the wide eyes and pointing fingers of all three of them alerted Pan to something on the road in front of them. He quickly closed his eyes back to the road again to see what was another mountain, but this one looked less organic, more structured and designed, almost crafted into shapes that had windows and doors. Darting into a canyon at this speed it was hard to tell. Something pink obscured his vision and he wrestled it away with the rest of the washing line. Before he knew it, Pan had lost almost half his peloton to the city of Lork. The heavy industry mining city was home to a number of humans and dwarves, and their resilient buildings and machinery made the trailing edges of the peloton into chicken soup with feathers drifting down from the sky. Pan used the force to thread a path through the increasingly windy streets for the remaining chicken peloton, now just 70, until the team erupted from the southern gates and, using a handy hill nearby, bounced back into the relative safety of the air. Everyone takes a sigh of relief that you are out of the city safely, and looking ahead you can see a large valley with a lake and a small village on its shores. Nestled high above it in the hills is the lodge, and a winding path linking the two together. The chickens go cluck, 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 and there is a moment of silence and slow realization that flight has ceased. Velocity is slowing, and as one with a "oh cluck" from most of the chickens, you begin to fall. The peloton breaks up formation at about 200 feet. Pan, you clutch your orb to your chest as the chicken flaps its wings frantically trying to gain altitude but failing. What would you like to do, brave adventurers?